Hello, 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 and welcome to the judges panel for Versus or Vibes Battle presented by BAMS Fest. My name is Tim Hall, and welcome back for those who have been tuning in all week. Welcome to those who are tuning in for the first time to see this incredible judges panel. We are so excited to choose the winner for BAMS Fest Versus or Vibes Battle. Versus Vibes is a virtual music competition where New England-based music artists compete to win $5,000 in cash prizes, include a spot at BAMS Fest 2022. That is right, we are bringing it back. 2022 BAMS Fest will be live and in person. We are so excited to be back with the community and with you all. Tonight, we have some incredible judges here to review the contestants from this week and choose our winner for our competition. So I'm gonna get started and introduce our incredible panelists. Our national panelist is Maimouna Youssef. Mumu Fresh is a critically acclaimed Afro-Indigenous singer, MC, songwriter, activist, workshop facilitator, and audio engineer who's been called a quadruple threat by the one and only Roots Black Thoughts and groundbreaking by the one and only Oscar-winning artist Common. You may know or have seen Mumu Fresh share the stage with countless icons and legends in the making, including The Roots, Dave Chappelle, Sting, Bobby McFerrin, Layla Hathaway, Erykah Badu, Rhapsody, Burna Boy, BJ Chicago Kid, Common, Mali Music, Lauryn Hill, Ed Sheeran, Billy Ray Cyrus, D'Angelo, Femi Kuti, Aloe Black, Zap Mama, Bruno Mars, and Nas, and so many more. Please welcome Mumu Fresh. Word.
Oh, there we are.
There we go. We got you. You're in here.
In here. Thank you, Tim, for the introduction. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. Next up, we have one of our local judges, Danielle Johnson, widely known as Miss Hot Sauce. She has encompassed the essence of her stage name, combining her fun-loving appeal and fiery sense of humor to any stage, room, and/or airwaves. Born here in Massachusetts, 30-year-old Hot Sauce is a mother, a radio personality, speaker, MC, and creator. In 2022, Danielle launched the first Black female-owned digital radio station in Boston, Spark FM. I'm sure y'all heard of it. Spark FM Online is a national digital radio station amplifying and empowering the underserved voices of the urban and Caribbean community. Please welcome Miss Hot Sauce.
Woo! Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me, and I'm excited to have some fun tonight.
Word. Thank you so much for being with us. And lastly, we have my brother Free. Free is a successful, driven, visionary, passionate musician and alumnus of Berklee College of Music and is business development professional. As a CEO and founder of Elevation Theory, they've built a strong reputation working with some of the biggest names in the music business. Elevation Theory has co-headlined, performed, and backed with her, Tiana Taylor, K. Michelle, Jordan Knight of New Kids on the Block, and Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys. Free has a high-level experience in creating worldwide opportunities for young musicians, working with major recording artists and labels, and fostering partnerships with experienced independent music professionals. He has proven a reputation for mentoring young talent to develop an entrepreneurial mindset and connect them to critical resources that elevate their careers. He's decided to launch his online music community, My Shot, bringing together musicians and independent music professionals. Please welcome Free. Yo. You there? Might be having a few technical difficulties over here, but know that Free is in the building. First, how's everybody doing? How are you? Thank you for being with us. Oh, there we go. We got Free.
That was my fault. I don't know what I did, but I was touching stuff. That's what happens when you.
All it is the digital space. We figuring all this out still.
He's in there. Nah, but yo, Tim, thank you so much for the introduction. It's such an incredible pleasure to be here with these amazing panelists. I'm just individually fans of all of them. So tonight's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. I'm just honored to be here for the second round. So I look forward to us getting in, having a great time.
Yes. We appreciate you all being here, and I'm sure that the contestants will absolutely value what you all have to share, the perspective that you want to lend them, as most artists are wanting to further their career, get better at what they do, and you all have been in this industry. You've seen, experience, been in rooms, and understand what it takes to make decisions that create a successful career. So I'm very excited to hear what you all have to say, and I'm sure the artists are as well. For those who are watching, just so you know what's at stake here for these contestants. So they will be receiving $5,000 in cash and prizes. First is $1,000 cash, just straight in the pocket, ready to go. I got that. Bet. Then you get $1,000 for a full photo shoot with a local BIPOC photographer, rehearsal or studio time at the Record Co. here in Boston, one-on-one brand management coaching from Diana Williams of Influence Entertainment, and a secured spot at BAMS Fest 2022. It's such an incredible prize, so very excited for them. What we will be discussing today, we'll be going through each contestant, and we'll be evaluating and talking about a series of criteria. First is presentation. So their style, fashion, the professionalism of the band. We'll be also reviewing their lyrics. Were their lyrics appropriate? Was there any connection to what they were saying? Is there a story there that's telling something that's inspiring or bringing some kind of additional connection to what they're saying? Persuasion. Would you watch them again? Are they intriguing enough? And in general, just general feedback and constructive criticism for the artist to take and improve upon. So we gonna jump right in. Y'all ready?
Let's get it.
Word. Awesome. So we're gonna start with our very first contestant, Paul Willis. What did you all think of Paul?
Ladies first.
We'll start off the presentation. Yeah. What were you all vibing with in terms of the presentation?
I like Paul.
Yeah, me too. I really do like him. He had really good energy. And I could really see him on a stage doing what he does. Like he looked like he was really comfortable there. And I liked that he was comfortable doing what he liked to do.
Yeah. Yeah, first of all, I love the backdrop. I like that landscape, like it represented where he's from. I thought the band was very engaged. You know, I always kind of look at the musicians to find out, are you asleep on stage? Or are you present and a part of what's going on? And his drummer was definitely trying to get booked because he was
Listen, say that again. Say
Shane.
You know, he was handing business cards on them drums. Yes, I really like that. Even in their style, I felt like it was cohesive between everyone. Like it seemed to represent. It tied in with the storyline. I like that he had a storyline. A lot of it was very personal, so we got to know who he was. You know, yeah, it just it fit, like their wardrobe fit the landscape, the city. It just, you know, it felt like they were friends. It felt connected. I like when a band or a crew feels connected. It doesn't feel like you just picked up those musicians, you know, the day before and they learned the music and y'all just showed up together. But it does feel like they have some chemistry. Yeah, I feel like, you know, I felt very engaged. Yeah, absolutely. I felt very engaged with what they were, you know, presenting.
And I think to that point, I think the identity of sometimes of artists and band, like that uniform, sometimes get lost. And I think he did a great job at him being the lyricist. It kind of gave you that roots type of energy of like them band lyricists, like that Black Thought, like it kind of gave you that feel. But I think it was immediately like me, because being a drummer myself, like I instantly was just like, like I'm looking at the artist with the drum. I'm like, okay, you like I'm trying to like keep it uniform, but at the same time, you could just tell, like, and I know like when you're in the art of the music, it's just obviously you have to be cognizant that the artist is first, but it's when you are just really in the moment, it's just you got to really learn how to suppress those feelings and let the artist really captivate the room, bring it in, and the music is gonna tell a story. But I think, Mumu, like you said, to your point, I think the great thing about his presentation was the lyrics. Like he brought you in, he personalized it very early. Like, and I just think even from the framing of the titles, like it was very calculated.
That title was awesome because it was Codman Square, and if you're from here, like that's a very big landmark here. So you automatically wanted to hear what did he want to say about Codman Square. So that was cool too, and it was very conscious of everything.
Right. And I also like the movement. I feel like there's some artists who they'll bounce back and forth on stage, and it looks natural for them because that's the type of energy that they are presenting, and that's also the kind of brand that they're wanting to present. Whereas whether or not he was there with the mic on a stand or without the mic, he kind of stayed in his zones, which didn't distract me. I actually was able to really stay with him, understand and hear what he's saying, and still see that he's rocking and that he's grooving. He's not all over the place. He kind of stays in a particular square. That way, also the camera isn't going back and forth and trying to track him while the band is there. And similarly, everyone kind of like stayed in their zones, and it just felt like a good bop rather than I'm trying to like keep up with the imaginary crowd that's not there.
I think it worked too that the backdrop was moving, so it made sense to be more still. Like had the backdrop been still, then maybe we would have wanted more movement. But I think that contrast worked. I think for me, the only thing I would have wanted stronger hooks. I felt like when I leave a show, I want to leave remembering a lyric and remembering a melody and something to take with me. I think that's what really makes a strong song is the fact that it's contagious, that you end up singing it unintentionally. So that's one thing I would say. I think the hooks could be stronger. There could be more moments of call and response. Call and response is always really powerful to keep lock yourself in as a memory in the audience's mind, because I think they have so much going for themselves. I would just love to see them leave something for us to stick with us and strengthen that song structure and the hooks a lot more.
And I think to jump on that, Mumu, right there, to that point, I think sometimes because of just the environment we're in, we forget that call and response, not realizing that when that camera's live, you're in front of the world. So your same level of as if you was in front of 30,000, like you have to bring the same level of energy. And I think to your point, that was a great point. That you got to remember, hey, even though I'm producing a video, I'm still live. So I still got to give that level of connectivity. So that way, that emotional response is still warranted, even through. It's just like watching on your TV. It's the same element. You want to give that.
Yeah, my first time doing a virtual concert, it was like it's an adjustment to make, but it is equally as necessary. You can't give less energy because there's no one there. You got to give more, really, because you got to hype yourself up. You don't have the audience to give you that, so
you're your own
got to do more.
Exactly.
I didn't see too much energy from the rest of the band though. So that was a thing for me too, besides the drummer who kind of gave a lot of energy. I feel like the rest of the band, they did groove. Yeah, they did groove, but I feel like compared to the drummer's energy, they seem to be a little bit lacking in that energy area. So that was a little off-putting for me because then I ended up watching the dynamic of the band in the back. So that would be just something like, if they do make it to really kind of focus on the cohesiveness of their energy and making sure that everybody is feeling almost the same thing. Or if the drummer even comes down a tad bit, then we can focus.
Yeah, that's another thing you can do too.
Get booked. The drummer
he wanted
booked.
that. Hey, he wanted that. But it has to be said though, because listen, Danielle made up a great point because I'm a drummer myself, so it's like being with like artists, right? You have to always remember that the artist is the attraction. Like that's what people they come to see. And honestly, like you don't want to be a distraction at any element of the show. Like it's a difference, like you said, Danielle, if it's a cohesiveness and you just like, yo, they are in it. Background singers, like band, like you can feel the synergy around it. And I think the thing of it is just you want to be very mindful that of your own personal interpretation. You just want to, I know as a drummer, you feel like you're the backbone, so you want to give a little just to create it. But when you kind of on that island, you're like, wait, okay, hold on. So I'm out here by myself. I'm still there. You know what I mean?
Or maybe like they create moments where everybody, does some type of choreographed hype feeling or something like that. Because the bass player and the key is always the most chill. They don't want to get
absolutely, they always
in his pocket.
The drummer and the guitar player, they're gonna do the most.
Yeah.
We definitely are. I can co-sign that, so I ain't even gonna hold you on that.
He be knowing.
What about Persuasion? Are you all intrigued? Like, do you want to see Paul perform in another environment? Do you want to see, him in a particular show? Do you want to go and listen to the catalog? Like, did he move you?
He seems very Bam festy, like festival. Come out, have a good time, listen to me, bring his friends, and just kind of gig out and listen to good lyrics, right? I was interested in definitely just going to check him out and seeing more of what he was doing, and seeing where he usually what kind of stages he's usually more comfortable in and stuff like that. So this was good to watch him, and I can see him on stage. I'm interested in knowing more about him. So that was good for me to kind of just go do some extra research on it.
Right.
Yeah, I want to see him grow. I'm interested to see how he grows and develops. In the future, how he takes the constructive criticism. I'm interested in his long term. How he develops.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that too. I think again, like the lyrical presentation is definitely there. I think it gives you really that grassroots festival like vibe. But I think if you can structure it more in a show format, because I think sometimes as like lyricists, they focus more on like I want to rap, and it's like the live element, which can really in all honesty, you could really look at it from a band perspective, but I always tell artists, like artists and band and show is all in production. Like everyone plays a part into it. So I think you got to be very mindful that I think with time, as he continued to perform more, you start to notice those things. And I guarantee he probably going back looking at it and us giving this feedback, he go, oh, I can see why they can say that. Oh, now looking at it, I can understand that. And I think again, Mumu hit it right on it. I just think in time, those things just develop, and it's just like the more you work it, you just get better with it over time, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Any last notes or pieces of guidance or constructive criticism that you all want to offer about Paul Willis?
Overall, my final thoughts, I thought it was amazing. I thought for it to be the first one kicking off, I think it was like, oh wow, okay, the bar is definitely up here today. Excuse me, guys. So I felt like it was right, but in the landscape of it, for me, as long as you understand as an artist, you continue to grow and evolve and just adapt. Like that's the best compliment you can ever give yourself. Is just continue to stretch your imagination and take your creativity to the next level. 100%.
Great. Awesome. Thank you all so much, everyone. That was Paul Willis. Such an incredible performer. It was our first contestant. Now we are moving on to contestant number 2, Talith. What were your all thoughts about Talith? We'll start off with presentation. Mumu, you want to get us started here?
Yeah. So in terms of presentation, I liked her wardrobe. I liked the uniformity of the band. Their blocking was good. You could tell she's comfortable being on stage. She's probably been performing for a while. So I thought that part was nice. The backdrop was pretty. I think it fit like the musical style. I would say I felt like just vocally, I would say more vocal control, practicing, strengthening her vocal control. And the songs as well. I feel like the songs need some development, structurally. The melodies could be stronger, the choruses could be stronger, more memorable. Like I'm always looking for like, what did I remember about the song when it was over? When I heard it the first time, is there anything about it that I was left humming? So yeah, I think that could have been a lot stronger. What else? I feel like too that the band could have been more engaging. They were very, very laid back. Everybody was very laid back, which is fine. But I think there could have been some moments where we got more engaged, where I could really feel that you all enjoyed it as much as you want to make it enjoyable for the audience. That's important. If the band feels like, we're just here, we just showed up, we got the call. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like you really feel like everyone looked clean and uniform, but I can't say that I felt like they gave us a show. You know what I mean? I would have liked to have seen everyone be a little bit more engaging, so that I could get more into the song, But lyrically, I thought they were good lyrics. I just feel like the song structure could have been better. The melody could be more catchy, more infectious, more memorable. Yeah, so that was most of my feedback, but I felt like they looked really good, very uniform, very clean, very comfortable. I just would like to see this, the vocal control better. Because there were moments where it was like pitchy. It was pitchy for me. It was sharp and it was flat. So I would just say like really, really honing in on that vocal control and on the song structure and just making the performance more engaging overall.
Great. Danielle, how about yourself? Thank you so much. Fresh.
I'm right there with Mumu. It like watching it, it was very beautiful to watch. It looked whimsical, it looked nice. She was dressed nice. So as for presentation, I think that they did a really, really great job. As for just like overall everything else, I think that it could have been a stronger performance. overall, with both the band, again, the cohesiveness with the band, the energy coming from the performance all together. And I know that it was supposed to be more sultry, more vibesy and more, soulful. But I also had a hard time kind of understanding the words of the songs, of the lyrics. I didn't really there needed a little bit more enunciation, I guess, a little bit more clarity in just her lyrics in general. So for me, I watched it and I wasn't mad at it, but I did want a little bit more. I wanted a lot more from the performance, and just like even the visual. It was a nice background. It was very um it looked nice, but I think that for this performance, for being like on a big stage at a festival, there needs to be a lot more power coming from her. She's beautiful. Everything is beautiful about it, but I wanted her beauty to match her power when she was singing, and when she was performing.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it was the whole, like, you kind of you all hit on it. It's kind of like, it's a certain level, like when you start off a show kind of like very like mellow, like neo soul, it kind of automatically, like, you pull back the artist. It's kind of like that moment, like, where it's like you get lax, when the reality is, if you bring it up and you kind of control the show, I think it would have dynamically may have set her up, because I think you're right. She definitely has performed. You can tell, like, she's performed a few times. You can tell it's more seasonal. But I think, to a lot of points where y'all brought out, I just think I was looking for that lighter moment, like, okay, this is where it's about to come, or this is where the arrangement's going to come out. But I think because it was just on cruise, which again, in most settings, in most situations, that set could ideally work, but I think a lot of the times where you have to be mindful that certain records don't translate the same live, and you have to be able to
Right.
understand that, like, okay, you know what, it feels good, but I got to be mindful that people are going to be sitting in their living rooms. They're going to be like, they're going to be in their cars. It's like, you got to really put yourself in the sense of, like, how does it feel? How does it interpret into a show? And I think, Mumu, to go to your point, I think it goes back to, like, are you listening to yourself? Are you going back, listening to the performances? Are you really pushing yourself out of your own creativity and your own self, like development? Like, okay, I need to make sure that when I'm not falling off my note. I'm making sure that I'm listening, that I know where I am. Like, I got to know where my register is, and knowing, like, on certain songs, I don't really got to try everything on this record.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, you know what I mean? So I think,
And make it
for
a
me,
good song for your voice, Because sometimes it could be a good song, but maybe it's not a great song for you. It doesn't showcase your voice well, though.
Right. And I think that's all it was for me. But again, I think it was just, again, it was very packaged, like, well, like, really put together. Like, it's hard to not be like, oh wow, that wasn't great. I think it was just like, I want to really see, like, the level of, like, okay, what if I really turned it up, but yet I controlled it? Because I think that's where people, they confuse it. It's like, turn it up doesn't necessarily mean you got to show more. It's more like, no, it's like picking the right type of record that translate. And I think, again, it just goes back to the development piece of being able to be self-aware. And it starts back with playback. And I think a lot of times we do shows, we perform, and we don't go back and watch the film. Like, it's very important to go back in any performance settings, that you want to make sure that you understand, like, okay, you know what, man, I need to change that, or hear how you sound on it live. Because I think that's a lot of times, because when you cut a record in the studio and you do it live, you're like, whoa, wait, hold on, this don't even feel the same. Like, it's totally different. So that's kind of like my honest feedback on
Right.
that.
And I absolutely agree in terms of, like, watching it, I could see the experience. I could tell in the poise. I could tell in how comfortable she looked on stage, how she interacted with her band, and in some ways, it was polished to the point where I didn't learn anything about who she is and her journey, her experience. I was able to, you have those moments between songs where you get to, give a little bit of information, provide a little bit of insight into who you are. Obviously, we're there to listen to the music. And we're also here to learn about you and who you are, and that might help to add value to the song that you're about to create, that you're about to sing or perform for us. It might help us understand and build a connection to you and to your story, and want to learn and know a little bit more. And there's obviously a balance where you get, the artists that talk too much. It's like, can you perform the song now? And then sometimes you don't hear enough, just to kind of like know more beyond hearing the lyrics of the music and the song. But thank you all. Any
But you did
last?
You knew her name
You
because she made sure.
You gonna say that name correctly? Exactly. When say that name, you gonna say it correctly. You gonna remember it. And it's an incredible tactic. Any last words or thoughts or offerings for Talith?
Talith, keep pushing. I think the thing of it is that you got to get into that level of. Sometimes the older you get, you think seasonal makes you safe, and you get to a place of just like, you know what, I'm comfortable here, and it's kind of like I'm just gonna ride the wave. When reality is, like, when you're stepping into, like, especially like it's a competition, you got to really set yourself apart. You got to really you got to be walking away with your identity or your stamp. Just when you're coming from that performance. Yeah. It's just, you really want to be self-aware of knowing, like, hey, this is what y'all gonna leave with. I mean, like, she was very clear on, y'all gonna know my name. That's one thing y'all gonna know. But I think that would have been more of a, like, as a production, that could have been a lot more just like in your face, a lot more bigger, like a statement record, like, like more like raw. You know what I mean? So it's just those little things of just the art of performing. It's just all those little nuances. But again, it's more of a challenge to continuously to push yourself forward. Never just settle and just knowing that, hey, well, I've been singing for 30 years or 25 or however long. You just always want to constantly be evolving at all times. It's just the only way you can grow.
Word. Danielle, I think we need you're muted.
Entertaining. Boom. Like, when you're entertaining, you got to get that audience real quick. You got to snatch them up from the beginning, and you got to figure out a way to encourage them to ride out with you. And I like what you said about the watching back your performances. That's, I've learned that throughout the years. Listen to it. Sometimes you be like, oh, did I do that? And then you can go back and kind of correct it after that. And I think that with going back and watching this performance, I think that she'll be able to literally figure out in areas that she can grow and strengthen up on her own. Yeah. But this will help.
And honestly, in competitions, you normally don't have this much time. Like, they had a lot of time. 15 minutes is a lot of time to really showcase yourself. And I would have liked to seen a more like a variety of BPMs. It could be genre, it could be time signature, just something different. And sometimes if it's your music, the nuance and the difference of it, but to the average listener, it may all kind of feel a little monotonous and kind of similar. So I would say, kind of go out your way. If you have 15 minutes, 3 or 4 songs, like, each one should be identifiably unique, and again, I always try to impress upon the melody, not being so complex that we can't remember it or we can't sing along. I think it was dope that she did key changes, but there still needs to be some amount of simplicity that allows us to remember what the melody was and to want to sing along. Because I remember it was her name, but I don't know the melody that she sang it in, so I can't repeat it, And so I think that's really important that, and a lot of times artists who, have studied jazz or have studied, even, R&B or blues or things like that, sometimes get lost in wanting it to be complex or wanting to do something so unique that you get away from the simplicity of, will people remember this moment? And, so I think that's important, like having to be unique each time, like have a up tempo, have a ballad, have a breakdown, have a call and response, like really think about what are those moments that'll be memorable so that everything just doesn't feel like a run-on sentence.
Yeah.
Word. Thank y'all so much. That was Talith. Next up, our final contestant, Trevor Holmes. We'll get started with Free. What were your thoughts about Trevor?
Man, Trevor, man, always full of energy. Like I've had the honor and pleasure of knowing him, and every time you see Trevor, he's exactly how he is performing. Like high energy, just loves what he does. Doesn't care if it's one person in the room or 300 people in the room. Like he gonna give you that same energy every time. And the thing of it is just I just respect the like some artists just have that ruthless like mindset like man I just do this because I have passion and I love it rather I'm gonna keep coming like I'm gonna take everything I'm gonna run through this wall as many times as I can. And I think with his performance it was just another testament of him just being him. And I think the thing that I can appreciate is that he was his band Megazord. I believe that they're like a production camp in this in as a whole. So I think those are elements that are important for growth. And it's like when you guys are in the records, y'all are making the records, y'all are performing it live. That unity is important. Like, I mean, I can witness it to myself that that's the root of the art of building a show because y'all are in the studio, y'all are creating it together so that y'all knowing how to take it and y'all are getting that synergy. Because I think it's important. Like when you're especially creating the records and being able to duplicate them live when you have that band producer element, I think that's a great tandem. But overall, man, I think it was a great just sense of just change because you could just tell like the whole performance is kind of shifted. Like, oh wait, okay, he up on track one. Now, like I said, lyrically content, like I know it was a lot happening kind of when I was going back and like listening to the lyrics. I'm like, okay, this is a lot. But again, like understanding Trevor and kind of like where he stands and where he just his demeanor as an artist, it made sense to me. So overall, like I felt good. It was definitely a different change of pace in terms of like the contestants. It definitely just shifted like when he kind of got on.
All right, Danielle, where yourself?
I too I'm used to seeing Trevor all over the place. So this was definitely his performance. What I did like that Free said is like his band artist relationship, you can tell that they are all in this together. Even just how he was introducing it, like they produced it and we're performing it now, like all of that. I did think that the set was cool, but there was a lot going on. Trevor loves to move around. He's all over the place all the time. And his background was doing the same thing. So I didn't know whether I wanted to watch Trevor or if I wanted to watch the screen behind him. So that was a little bit distracting for me. And then the same thing with the lyrics. Like I know that he does a lot. He's very animated. He can be dramatic and things like that. But he's a performer. Like that's what he does. He wants to perform. He wants to entertain, and he wants to, do what he does. And I saw every part of that, like in his growth throughout the years, and even just now. But I would really kind of encourage to focus on that musical aspect of it. Like you're still performing for an audience. They still have to understand you. They still have to be able to follow you, and they still need to be locked into you. And having so many things going on was very distracting to me. But and I know that it will be to other people too. But it was cool to look at. It's very cool to look at.
Word. Mumu?
Yeah, I agree that that's the first thing I wrote on my notes is the backdrop is very distracting. And I felt like it was kind of irrelevant content wise. I didn't know what was going on in the backdrop and what did it add. Like with the first guy's Paul, I knew it was about the city that he was from, and it was like it was creating the setting that his stories were being told from. So it was relevant to what he was doing. I feel like with this backdrop, I wasn't sure, like, what does it have to do with, how is it tying into your story? I felt like some of the stories were like kind of monotonous and a little bit like run on sentencey. I did like the instrumentation and the production. I felt like each track had its own kind of signature. It was pretty unique. Like especially I loved track 3. I like the tempo, like that 80s feel. Like I like that he switched that up and gave me some highs and lows, some peaks and valleys. He definitely was very much into what he was doing. Like he was passionate. Like I believed him because he believed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Again, on the voice, I would say, very pitchy, sharp, and flat in a lot of moments. I would say voice lessons, working on vocal control, strengthening his vocal control on the nuanced notes when he's going in between, high and low notes to really kind of work on the definition in his runs and things like that would be really important to keep developing his self as a vocalist. Um, Again, so that way he can add more variety to the melodies that he does choose. When he works on that a little bit more, and yeah, so just because I felt like there were moments where he just went straight to the big note and then, kind of some monotonous melody and then went straight to the big note. Like I feel like the more he develops himself as a vocalist, he'll just have more variety to choose from. So that when you save the big note, when you get to the big note, is because it's like this peak of this song. It builds up to this moment. And there were moments where I couldn't feel the build up. It was just like, this low kind of like almost rapper like monotonous melody, and then it was like the big R&B note, and I just wanted to see where the build was between those two places. Yeah, so that's how I felt.
Word. Yeah, I agree across the board. Trevor brings energy. That his presence alone, you kind of get excited and you're instantly drawn in, and that aligned with the professionalism of the band and just them being completely connected to both the music and the artists. I was really excited by the performance, and similarly, really tightening up those vocals, understanding, that, you have records. I know that a lot of on his records, a lot there's, different effects and so forth that he uses, and figuring out a way in the live show, you can still include some of those effects if that's a part of your sound. You can still,
Yeah.
connect, build that connection between your sound on the record to your sound live, and also be prepared and ready to also kill it once you might be in a position where you don't have that effect to use in the live performance. And overall, I thought it was an incredible performance as well. Any last thoughts or things to share about Trevor? Do you want to listen to him more? Would you go see another show, etc.?
I love it. I got one thing, and it's funny when Mumu said it. She said the third song, and the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, "You gotta tune your bass. You gotta tune your bass." Because I'm listening, I'm
Yes,
like, "Wait,
that is true.
this is really out of tune." And again, the only reason why that's relevant, and I'm saying this to any musician across the board, if this is a live streaming and it's live and that cuts through, that's an instant ticket to the house. Like it's just, those are just things that you can prevent, because again, in your mind, you're not thinking it and hearing it. Because when I heard it, I'm like, ooh, okay, maybe I'm tripping. And then I had to go back and I'm like, wait, yes, it's out of tune. So it's just those things again, like it's just, now maybe string could be getting ready to pop. There's a lot of circumstances that could be happening in the moment. But
Yeah.
again, it's just one of those things that just being over prepared for a situation, I don't care what it is. Like you just want to make sure that those little things, because those could literally make or break a show, literally. So you just want to make sure. It's kind of like Mumu was making mention of. It's just like when you're getting pitchy and when you're getting like falling flat, like those are things that naturally, when you're in the art of just the adrenaline and you're running and you're in the groove, and you just thinking like, yo, man, I'm killing it. And you go back and listen to it. That's why I say I live by playback, because it's your mirror. And then when you see it and you hear it, you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
That was a lesson. That was a lesson. So overall, man, I think as a unit, collectively, it's just you guys got to form, like develop that sound, like beginning and end, and just growing collectively, and just making sure that those little bit of things when it comes to performances, that everybody just ultimately want to stay in sync with each other. That's all.
Word. Well, thank y'all so much. That is the end of the deliberation for each individual artist. Are there any lasting things that you all want to share across the board to the artists before we transition into our own private deliberation?
It was a pleasure watching their performance. Like it was really great to watch them be on stage and perform however they did or however they feel. You can tell that each artist they knew that they were competing and they wanted to compete and they wanted that prize. So it was really great to see them on a big stage already where they can get the feeling of what it was going to be. And I think that whoever ends up winning is going to take the feedback and put on a wonderful performance.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would just say, yeah, go ahead.
No, continue. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just saying to just congratulate everyone for having the courage that it takes to get up here and showcase your talent and to, receive the constructive criticism. Because a lot of times people stop themselves from even taking that first step to put themselves out there, just for the fear of rejection or, like a lot of times people won't even take that first step. So I just want to congratulate you all for taking the first step to put yourselves out there, creating the music, putting the band together, financing things. It's a lot of steps that it takes to get to where you guys are right now. So, congratulations for having the courage and the follow through to even make it this far.
Yeah, and I'll say the thing of it is that when you have these level of like events, competitions, you obviously want to make sure that again you understand that you have made it to the top three, like you're there. And I think sometimes people, if I didn't win, I lost. No, the fact that you are here, that right there lets you know that you are taking the steps to get progressive. And the thing of it is that you always have to remember music is a universal language. Everybody see it, they understand it different, and it's subjective based on opinions. But I think the great thing about this panel, not that we're coming up here saying that we're any better than anybody else, but what we can just say through the test of experience, we have found a formula that has tend to allow us to operate at a certain level. And the thing of it is that you do not want to be in a position that you are very reserved and not open to understanding, like, yo, how can I take this feedback and go back and watch it? Because the thing of it is, the film never lies. So I don't think anything that we said tonight was challenging our us trying to just, yeah, absolutely. And the thing of it is, because I think everyone has that next level. And the thing of it is, you could come back next year and we'd be like, whoa, you took that and ran with it and some. So these are things I just know that each contestant should be proud to know, like, hey, I did it, but little did we know it could have been you. Like, man, I just came out of COVID. This is the first thing I needed to have happen for me to even reset, to get myself back into it. So please take this as an ultimate high of knowing, like, you guys made it, you guys got here. It's the ultimate step to progression. And I think the first thing, and like Mumu said, is acknowledging I'm here. And that right there in itself, that a lot of people don't even have that courage. Like, they would never stand on a competition and get in front of a camera and let their stuff just air live and be critiqued publicly. So different stage.
Absolutely. So
congratulations.
Yes. Great job, contestants. And this message is actually to the folks that are watching. Your support, your involvement, your attentiveness, your willingness to follow along, to stream, to join, in the celebration of this art scene and community is so vital, is so needed. You all being here to support artists. These artists got up on the stage in front of a camera and told us their truth. They shared their story. They were honest and vulnerable. And that isn't possible without having an audience to be supported by. So I just want to continue to encourage those who are supporting the scene, who are supporting BAMS Fest, who are supporting artists, that it's so vital to our success, to our feeling of being human. So if you see these artists out, congratulate them, celebrate them, honor them, give them the love that is needed, because this journey that we have all chosen, it's a choice. Like, we chose to be artists. This is, an active decision to do what we do. it's not an easy one, and we're all human. So please make sure you all go and like their stuff, go follow their music, go purchase their merchandise, go, share their posts, do anything that you can to uplift and support the work that our artists are doing in the scene in this community. We will be right back. We're going to go into our own little deliberation. You're going to get some words from our founder and executive director, Catherine Morris, and we will be right back to let you all know who the winner is. So stay tuned.
Hey everyone, it's Catherine Morris, founder and executive director of Boston Art Music Soul Fest. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us and being on this journey for Versus or Vibes, second edition, of course, in times of COVID. We could not have done this without you, straight up, straightforward. We are so thankful to our sponsor, Berkshire Bank, for believing in us the second year to do this. I hope we can come back again. Also to all of our community partners, the record company, New England Mic Check Radio, Fahrenheit TV, Black Cotton Club, and the Bridgeside Cypher. Thank you for believing in us and encouraging the community at large to support local artists. It is so important to do that. We are coming out of this pandemic. Our lives are going to be changed for concerts, for live events. And artists always need practice. And the only way they're going to get better is by you showing up and showing support for them. So as we continue down this journey as an organization, getting on the road to BAMS Festival 2022, which will be in June. I can't tell you the date yet, but it's coming. We expect to see New England out at Franklin Park showing love to a ton of different artists that we haven't seen. They've been working hard. They've been trying to figure out how to come out strong. So your presence will always be truly appreciated. So just thank you. We love you. I love you. Thank you for rocking with us, even in times of COVID. Just enjoy it. To all the contestants, thank you for rocking with us. I know it wasn't easy, but you made it. As the judges said, you have made it. So whoever the winner is, also come out and support them, because that's the only way we can build our artist community. So we'll give a few more minutes for the judges to deliberate, and then the winner will be announced. See you soon.
Yo, all right, everybody. We have deliberated. We have heard from the people. The people have spoken, and our incredible judges have come to a final decision. Before we announce, we want to again thank all of the contestants. Please give a shout out to Paul Willis, Talith, and Trevor Holmes. Again, go follow them. Go find their music, go stream it, go purchase stuff from them, go support these artists. They are competing for $1,000 of just cash money in the pocket, $1,000 for a full photo shoot with a local BIPOC photographer, rehearsal or studio time at the record company in Boston, one-on-one branding management coaching from Diana Williams of Influence Entertainment, and the coveted guaranteed spot at BAMS Festival 2022. Without further ado, we would like to announce the winner as
Drumroll.
Paul Willis. Paul Willis. Yo, shout out to Paul. Shout out to Paul and his band. Great job, incredible performance. Some notes that we wanted to share about why the overall package of Paul's performance was together. It was connected. It was in sync. Details matter, from the landscape and the backdrop to the shirts to the overall visual connection that you can tell and vibe between the band and the artist. Paul, your storytelling, the journey that you've taken throughout your life that has, guided you to where you are in your musical journey was touching. It gave us a lot of depth to who you are. Your music was a groove, was a vibe, was a good balance of vibe, as well as keeping us engaged and attentive to what you were doing and offering to us. Overall, incredible job. Shout out everybody. Paul Willis as our winner for Versus or Vibes Battle 2021.
Oh, Paul, go Paul. Good job.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Please give a round of applause to our incredible judges, Mumu Fresh, Miss Hot Sauce, and the one and only Free. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for offering constructive criticism and feedback for the artists that is absolutely needed. Guidance and perspective is so important for us bettering ourselves. So thank you all so much for being with us. Shout out to Berkshire Bank for being our sponsor, to Gigabit for hosting, as well as the great Catherine Morris for being dope and creating an incredible platform for artists and this Boston community. Again, thank you all for watching. This entire week has been incredible, and these artists need your support and continued support. So thank you for rocking with us. I hope that you will have an incredible rest of your weekend. Peace.